Ajibade, and I've been asked to share my experience with workplace bias with you guys. In preparing for this, it was pretty hard to pick one particular experience where I could share with you and everyone could agree that this was obviously bias. But one thing I wanted to point out is most of us go through bias every day in the workplace, and in most cases they're often done in increments. Like, even the person doing it does not necessarily realize that they're being biased towards you, and so it makes it even harder for you to decide if that was bias or not. And just so we don't go crazy, we tend to push these things behind our back. So one experience that I think was very obvious, was very blatant, that it was a form of unconscious bias that I went through is this. So it was a few months after I had had my first child. I had spent 9 months at home looking after him and just taking some time off work during my maternity leave. And when it was time for me to go back to work, one of the first meetings I had was with my appraisal manager. And so during the meeting, we're talking about my goals for the year, and I already knew what I wanted. I felt like, okay, the year I should have been promoted to manager was when I was home having a baby. And so my goal was, you know what, I'm going to come back to work and I'm hoping to get promoted in 9 months. So I shared this with him, and he just looked at me perplexed. Like, I can see it in my head right now. It was pretty much like a pens down, sits back, like, what is this girl talking about? And then, well, good on him, he actually put it into words, and he said, you do realize that when people come back from maternity leave, the last thing on their mind is promotion. They usually want to slow down, work part-time, leave work early to get a promotion. You can't do those things. You need to work late sometimes. You can't, like, working part-time will not necessarily get you there quickly enough. And so, my first instinct when I heard that was I was being pushed back. And it was also, okay, maybe this goal I'm setting for myself is not attainable. Should I just give up now? Should I just take my time? Am I being too pushy? But I don't know where I found the strength within me. And I just said, you know what? I was like, yeah, that is for them. For them, that is the right thing. For their families, that is the right thing for what they want for their career. But for myself, this is what I want. I'm going to work hard in the next 9 months to prove that I should be promoted. And then if you don't agree with me, then fine. But this is my goal. And so reluctantly, he accepted that as goals. But I know he didn't really say this, but in my head, and this is me speculating here, I just felt like he was just waiting for 9 months to come and go, and then he can show me that, you see, I told you you wouldn't get promoted. But as everything would work out, I did get promoted in 9 months. And looking back, I don't know, did I have to work hard for it? Yes. Did I have to work late sometimes? Yes. But all of these things I couldn't have done without my support system, my husband, my family, my mom, my sister-in-law. It's like, it takes a village, like they say. But then it happened. And I'm so proud of myself, and I'm so pleased that I pushed back. But one thing I want to say is this, especially for men and even women that are in positions where somebody else's career progression is in your hands, is to be very conscious of unconscious bias. Is to make sure that you're not assuming that the fact that a group of people do a certain thing, the fact that a group of people, this is their tendency, doesn't mean that the person you're talking to is going to want to do exactly the same thing. To be a little bit more flexible. And if you feel out of your depth, or you feel like you don't really understand why someone is choosing to go this way, ask for help. Ask for help instead of derailing somebody else's career, or even just ruining their day, ruining their moods. And if somebody wants to set a stretch goal for themselves, let them. Don't stop them.
Hello everyone, my name is Bisola Kuku. I'm an energy professional in oil and gas industry, and I'm a mom of 2 amazing boys, a proud member of the Places and Baby community. About 4 years ago, I got the opportunity to represent my team in a global conference. It was an amazing experience. But that's not the only reason why this incident stands out for me. It was really around the story behind it. Why was it so special? It was because just a few months earlier, I had had my first son. And he was, in fact, just 6 months old when I had to go for the conference with my mom watching him. Apparently, when it was time for the leadership team to nominate someone to attend the conference, my name came up. But there were initial hesitation, because I just had a baby. I was actually still on maternity leave. There were concerns around work-life balance. How convenient would it be for me? Would I be comfortable leaving my baby? And they were ready to drop me, literally, and put other names forward, until somebody in the team spoke up and said, why don't you give her the choice? Let her make the decision herself. You've always given her the opportunity to speak up and to, take charge of work-life balance for her. So why don't you trust that this time she would do the same? And so I got the email, asking if I would be interested in doing this. And I mean, it was a great opportunity. I had a good support network at home. My mom was willing and, more than ready to stay with my son for the few days that was going to be away. And so I said yes. I will always be grateful for that person who was in the room to speak up and put a voice forward, saying that the decision should be mine. For the longest time, I couldn't place a name to it. I didn't even realize that it was a sort of bias until I started to relate with other women, other career moms who have experienced the same. And that was when I learned that this bias is actually called maternal bias, where there's the belief that the mom would not be able to deliver her best simply because she has children, or that would be a hindrance to her performance, right? And it was shocking. It was shocking to realize that women across different industries at all levels of their career were experiencing this. And from the minute I could put a name to it, and the many other biases that women face, I have always been that advocate. I became really active in my team's inclusion agenda team, which really was around trying to, ensure inclusion in the workplace, trying to educate people about the many unconscious biases that exist. And that's the funny thing, right? Many times these biases are unconscious. The people who exhibit them actually believe they have the best interest of the women at heart. And even the recipients sometimes do not recognize them because they believe that, it was done from a good place, and they don't recognize that it's a form of bias. So I've always, been quite active with educating people about it. If I'm in the room where it plays out, I do speak up. So examples are, the maternal bias that I spoke about, performance bias, where there's a perception that because you're a woman, you cannot you cannot deliver as well as a man would, or simple behaviors as speaking over women during meetings. I have always chosen to challenge it, and that's why I love the theme for this year's International Women's Day. Yes, we have come a long way, but there is still so much that needs to be done. And so I choose to challenge. I choose to challenge when I see things that shouldn't be. I choose to challenge when I see things that tend to portray that women are not good enough. So happy International Women's Day to all ye amazing women out there. Here is to strong women. May we know them. May we be them. May we raise them. Have an amazing day, ladies.
As a child, I found myself being used as a reference point to shame little boys into academic excellence. So I would hear parents and guardians say things like, "Aren't you ashamed the little girl beats you? Aren't you ashamed a girl came first?" And I would feel so belittled and ashamed and guilty for coming first. Yet, choosing to work in a traditionally male-dominated profession like engineering was a natural choice for me. Not only because I thrive on proving a point, but also, and more importantly, because that's where my own natural strengths and abilities lie. There's a quote on Scandal, the TV series, that resonates so strongly with me. The part where Olivia Pope's father tells her that you have to be twice as good to get half of what they get. And I've seen that in my own professional life, in the workplace. I've seen it play out. From having to prove my competence as an engineer over and over again, having my competence questioned, to being on a project with a male colleague and automatic assumptions that that male colleague is the lead and I am the junior reporting to him, to having to fight for significant projects, having to fight for progression and promotion, even when I have earned it. I've seen it play out. And even when I do get that promotion, that long overdue, well-deserved, well-fought-for promotion, to have someone glibly describe my achievement as, she got the promotion because she's a woman. I faced it all. Now, there's a saying that sin thrives in secrecy. And I can tell you that from 10 years of professional experience, that gender bias and inequality in the workplace, it grows in silence. So I choose to challenge gender bias and inequality in the workplace by speaking up. Sometimes in a diplomatic manner, because I know that ants are more attracted to sugar than vinegar. But on other times, I choose to challenge bias in a more confrontational manner. Because bias, just like flies, sometimes requires a heavier hand. And I like to provide that sometimes. Joining a Blazers and Baby lean-in circle, a community of high-achieving, successful, competent, supportive women has been a tremendous help in my journey to recognizing and challenging bias in the workplace. See, there's a level of confidence that you unlock when you are in contact in a community with women who are making strides, making progress in their respective careers, and who are ready, who are supportive. It's a family, and you're challenged, you are encouraged, you're supported. One of the first things that being a member of the Blazers and Baby Leaning Circle did for me was it helped me to realize that, no, Ife, you're not crazy. You're not overdramatic. And you are not overreacting. That situation you just described, it was actually a demonstration of gender bias. And from the circle, I got tips on how to navigate. I have access to over 30 years worth of experience in navigating the workplace as a female professional. And I got tips on how to respectfully, yet very firmly, realize bias and also keep it in check. Keep it in its place, point it out, and then resolve it. So my time with the Blazers and Baby Leaning Circle has been very beneficial, has helped me to grow stronger, has helped me there were times when I looked at my professional life, I looked at my time, I looked at my efforts, and And I looked at the return on investments on these efforts and compared them with my male peers. And I will not lie to you, I was tempted to give up several times. But when I tabled these concerns to my circle members, they sprung into action. First of all, they encouraged me to keep it up. They encouraged me to not give in, to not pivot to another field where I felt I would have an easier time. But they encouraged me and they helped me re-strategize and reposition myself. So on this International Women's Day, I choose to challenge gender bias and inequality in the workplace and in every other place. Every day, every time, no matter how exhausting it gets. So happy International Women's Day from me. Goodbye.
Hello everyone. For International Women's Day 2021, I choose to challenge the assumption that all women need the same thing. This is because women are individuals and they have diverse definitions of success. So everyone in the society needs to do the work to understand what the woman in front of you needs to succeed and take that action. So I choose to challenge that all women need the same thing. Let's make space for all the diverse views and definitions of success that women have. Thank you.